Hello and welcome to the Esports Meta. My name is Billy Sims and I'm here to bring you all the esports action. But first I need to make sure I've got my audio. Yes, levels checked, camera checked, lights checked. We're set, we're ready for all the actions. We got a bunch of news for you this week. We've got stories from League of Legends, Esports World Cup, Overwatch, Magic the Gathering. We'll be talking about a bunch of different things. And of course we're going to be talking about arena shooters with our weekly segment. But to do that, I'm going to need a little bit of help. So let me bring in my co-host with the most, Nicholas Layton. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. I was actually going to hide on this one. I was thinking about it. It just disappearing.
I mean, the way last week went with our tech issues, I don't blame you, dude. But, you know, we're back. We're stronger than ever. Whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. We're on that grind. So as of right now, we're starting the episode. We're clean slate, having fun. How are you feeling about the topics this week? How are you looking at what we saw this week in esports and competition and news? Because I know there's a few things you're going to want to say.
A few topics make me filled with rage. Others are making me hopeful that I won't be angry by the end of tonight. So who knows?
Yeah, that's always a great goal to have. And who knows? I'm just going to rage bait you this entire time.
It could happen. I could snap today.
Today's the day, okay? So let's get into it. We're going to start off with our first topic, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme here with our Arena Shooter Update Watch. It's a working title. We got to figure out something smooth with this, but every week it seems like we're talking about a new Arena Shooter that's coming out, and yet again, we've got it for you. This one is called Fragpunk, if I got it correct. Boom. There we go. Here's the website. You can already see bright neon, super cool, super in your face. Arena shooter. Off the bat here, Nick, tell me what you're thinking. Tell me as we go into this from this website. Have you gotten a chance to see anything about Fragpunk? Have you gotten any, because I've had a couple people actually text me about this.
I got opinions.
Right.
I got opinions on it. Who makes this one? Is this one it's not Epic? Is this an Epic Arena Shooter? Because it uses Unreal, right?
It does use Unreal. Let's take a quick Google on that. Fragpunk dev. It's definitely not what's it called? Ubisoft. I would get that vibe from it just by looking at it already, right? Bad Guitar Studio.
Bad Guitar Studio. Okay. I don't know anything about them, but all I can say is, can you please stop taking your people who are meant to make single-player fun games? Can you stop forcing them to work on this crap? It looks like it would have been a cool single-player game with all the cards and the little cheats and stuff like that, and how you beat like a map or a level or a mission. It would have been really, really cool. GTA missions. I don't even know. It could have been it could have been like a cool cyberpunk version of Crackdown or something. But it just looks. It looks gross, bro. The colors, it looks gross. It looks like it's going to have a seizure warning. And it looks like there's going to be more stuff on the screen than Valorant. And Valorant is cluttered.
And it's very bright as well. Very bright game.
Oh, yeah. This game is super bright compared to Valorant, right? At least Valorant has, muted colors, kind of, in, certain aspects. But this is very, it's like they wanted to go for, a neo-punk, because obviously that's what the stuff is, right? But a futuristic shooter, basically, and that's why they have all these cool colors, right? Because all the neon stuff is.
Yeah, the future is neon. The future is bright, right? In this way too, it also feels like they're just trying to hit on the Fortnite aesthetic, right? We're just judging the aesthetic currently. I know you kind of mentioned some of the characteristics of the games, the mechanic, which I want to get into in a second, just kind of briefly overall. I don't really want to talk about this game too much because every week we have a new arena shooter, but just aesthetically, it seems like they're doing the same thing that we did before. When we saw X Defiant, they were absolutely trying to pick from the games previously or other developers' games to hit those aesthetic vibes. This one, it feels like they're trying to hit that, like you said, Cyberpunk, Overwatch, Fortnite bright future, neon future, fun, exciting, kind of like electric. Even this website, it's very like high octane. It changes the mouse to this devil thing, which I think is like a symbol for the hacking, whatever. The characters are very electric. It's a scam.
Right now, this game's a scam because the way this game is going to be like talked about by people is it's going to be cool. This game's cool. Like kids are going to say, this game's so cool. It's so cool. It's got this, that. The game is probably not going to be good, right? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
But usually something like this is going to be like, it's trying to just pull you in real quick, get you to experience it real quick, and then have you say like, it's cool. Somebody else will try it. It's cool. It's cool, bro.
Right. And is it going to be fun enough to continue past the cool? Is like what we're focused on competition. It's not that our only metric of a great game, but that's one that we're talking about here. It's the point of the podcast, just that competition. Will then they to be able to develop competition? And like, who knows, maybe this lesser studio can do something like that. Maybe because when we go back into looking at which games they've developed, it seems that it's only this so far. But to mention the scam thing, look who's distributing it. If I could say words correctly today, it's NetEase. It's NetEase.
NetEase? All right,
it's NetEase.
Here we go.
But like
good old boys. Good old boys.
It's hard.
At NetEase.
It's hard not to be involved with one of these big companies: Activision, Blizzard King, Microsoft, NetEase, Tencent. Like these ones, EA. They kind of it's let me say this. It's the ecosystem the video games live in right now. So like a lot of the smaller developers get bought up, get distribution deals with the bigger ones because they kind of need to. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of is, because they pressure a lot of shit to come out and like a lot of gimmicks. So already seeing NetEase, I have a bad taste in my mouth, and I know you do too, man.
Bro, they got Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter games.
What, Bad Guitar Studio?
What year is this, dude? NetEase. No, just NetEase has Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings games that are on the second row of their. If you go to their games, this is what they're. It's not in alphabetical order, by the way, which may like I could see, but no, it's like Harry Potter's on their second row. It's right up in front of your face, like.
Well, I know exactly what that is. We know exactly what that is. It's a IP. It's competing with Disney. It's competing with Marvel and Star Wars and all the big names. They're just getting an IP that people know, and they're just gonna run it down mid, basically, run it down your throat until you can't get enough.
I bet you they would have bought Harry Potter by now if J.K. Rowling didn't have a Twitter account. Disney would own that. It's in Universal already, so like. Yeah,
right. And like, even with Universal, we're seeing how they're making a Super Mario World. I'm super excited for that. Not bad mouthing that, but like it seems that the extent of IP and brand can go really far, and you could see some actors like a NetEase take advantage of it. Did NetEase just do Star Wars Hunter? Is this going to be another arena shooter from NetEase?
Star Wars Hunters. Did they do Star Wars Hunters? I thought that was somebody else.
It was either them or Tencent. It was one of the two.
Let's see. That was Zynga.
It was Zynga. Okay, Zynga.
The other one. It's essentially the same studio, right? Like, you go to Zynga Games. They have Farmville.
Dude, like I told you, Zynga's.
They have Game of Thrones.
They got the contract for that. Okay. I mean, with that too, it's wild because Zynga is something I remember from my childhood, like MySpace era internet, like live journal. Zynga was like a thing. So it's something else to see them do this now, and glad for them to get the money, but hopefully they treat players right. And, in that way, ultimately it's about the game. So when we see these things, I know we measure it in two ways. The competitiveness, which is what we're focused about. We're a competitive podcast. We're talking about esports. We're talking about competition and how to get better, and then just the current state of it. But then we're also talking about games, because we are ultimately fans of video games. Are they fun? So like, I think we're going to have to lean more on, is this fun, before we get into the competitive aspect. But I know this was just recent release. So in that way, to do a fun check, let's take a look at the extended trailer. So Sound check real quick. Make sure I'm not going to blow your eardrums, but I'm pretty sure I have it pretty low. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go.
I think she was dressed inappropriately. I'm just kidding.
It's the equivalent of that neon, man.
And I'm in.
No sound?
Oh, there is.
Lights on, nobody home.
Like, it looks cool for, like, a first-person, like, game.
I'm getting blue night
You
readings
could pull
off the
me in on
chart.
this for, like, a first-person game, but as soon as,
Right. And like, oh yeah. When we were talking about this, we immediately said this looks like Octane from Apex, right?
oh, yeah, 100%, they're stealing, like, even, look at that midriff. Like, they probably just cut, like, literally took the model, like, what's it did, and just redid it. By
like
hand
X
so they
Defiant
can get
did?
away with it. No, X Defiant pays for the,
Okay.
games. Because they're, like,
I didn't-
inside the game. They have, like, the actual, trademarks inside the game, like Splinter Cell
Oh, cool.
and stuff like that.
I didn't realize that. I
so-
thought it was more appropriation and theft undermined.
No. I think that's like the one thing we can give X Defiant is that I think their idea started off with, hey, wouldn't it be cool if these 4 games had like a shooter that they could play all the games in? And so like that's what it feels like.
Why didn't they market it like that? That's so much cooler than this game doesn't have MMR. Where is that in the marketing?
Yeah, no, right?
Sorry, I had to go full screen. I had to go full screen to make
Fine.
that point because it's like, I'm talking to you, X Defiant. Why the did you not do that?
Because they have great people in great positions over there, and
Yeah,
you know they didn't think of it. That's okay.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
you know, yeah. So yeah, back into this video. The other aesthetic that thing I'm getting here is this feels very Spider-Verse, right? The Miles Morales animation movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to have like a comic book feel, but like it's like the comic book version of Valorant in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's weird because it's like either in the future it's either high tech or you're in the slums, or they decide that they're gonna do slums high tech. Like it's just stupid. But
And in the
anyway,
meanwhile,
like,
every character is gonna have a midriff like it's like the late '90s on MTV.
yeah, exactly. No winners here, boys. No winners here. Like,
All right, let's
go.
keep this rolling. Let's keep this rolling. A few months ago,
Snap out of it.
every game has this flashback now, don't they?
Yeah, they all have them. If they have no story, you know.
Yeah, they're trying to
how,
hook.
That's how mangas and animes are now. It's like, damn, I'm in another world. Like, let's go. Like, that's literally
Yeah.
like a few months ago. Same thing.
They
They're
don't-
starting off exactly strong.
Yeah, they don't want exposition in the beginning. They want to hook you and then immediately. But like this, I don't know if you're already noticing, this guy has died like 3 times. So I think it plays into the mechanics of the game where you're essentially a hacker, like fourth wall breaking hacker. You get power-ups abilities where you can hack the game. And like I think that's what this is demonstrating currently. So here he is dying again and running back in.
Memes, bro.
Quickly.
This game was made for memes. Memes
Get
and
good.
money.
Get good.
No, this is just you know what our friend's phrase was a while ago, a few years ago, right? Hack the planet. Like it's just like that's what he's doing. World flip, see? Hack the planet.
Time for new rules.
It's like, could you imagine
Let's go,
playing this
baby.
game and you're like, if you have a sniper rifle, and someone
Mm-hmm.
just goes, "Oopsie daisy, you're upside down now." Like, what, dude?
Well,
I'm
I wonder
flying
then-
through the air all of a sudden.
But in that way, I wonder how the pickup system is. Is it going to be like a Fortnite Apex where it's random drops found on the world map? Is it going to be set locations in like a battle royale style? If it's arena shooter, it sounds like it's going to be more of like you're going to get a loadout and then you're going to, you know, so like the first time it happens is going to be shitty and then you're going to play around it. But like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like it can be kind of sketch on that competitive side of things. It goes back to your quote, and I think we might put that on a t-shirt. Memes and money, bro. Memes and money.
Memes and money, dude.
Here's the memes. Here's the money.
He got dragon's breath. So he has incendiary shots, and they have to make all of this crazy shit on screen for incendiary shotgun shells, which is a staple in like so many different games.
And here you go, chain lightning shots.
They call it chain reaction.
Yeah.
So like in a game like this that has like big head
Wait a
mode,
second.
shrinking mode, and stuff like that, yeah, you saw it.
Yeah, we just saw both. They're making Genji.
Yeah, they're making Genji. I told you,
Of
dude,
course.
The spectrum is either you're close to Counter-Strike or you're close to Halo. They're like, and the in-between is Valorant. That's it. Like, it's like everything falls on that spectrum as far as shooters is concerned.
Well, I seem to have paused it on a good moment because now we're going to actually see some in-game UI and UX. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can count to 11. Look at me, guys. There's 11 characters currently in alpha. It's a closed alpha. Broker is the character we're on screen, the one we've been following for now. Skill damage, vision control, and trap placement. So it seems that you've got 3 abilities. I wonder if these 3 abilities can get changed in, or what. But it seems like, yeah, they're going to do like the mix of the arena shooter Overwatch style, but then also the kind of CSGO Valorant loadout, but then the Halo 5 talent ability changing loadouts as well.
Sure.
What do you see here? What do you see here?
Bro, there's big head mode, there's shrinking, there's getting big, there's all sorts of stuff, right? This game, I'll say right now, is a small studio. Big studios, middle range studios, small studios can't get hitboxes right. So, like, step up, unknown person who has NetEase money. I have no clue of how good these hitboxes are going to be. The damage is going to be all over the place. It's going to be Gears of War times 2 now. Like, where literally, like, the A button probably does everything. Shooting's all over the place, and aim is just crazy unless they have, like, strong auto aim. And that's why people don't play Halo. It's because you're, like, zipping around. You're glued to people when they move past you. Like,
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, so this is like, I think you touched on a good point. I know we're kind of complaining because this has been like week 5 of Arena Shooter Watch. Like every week has been a new fucking game. But like this one, okay, yeah. The good points you're making here is like, here's a chance for a small studio to step up and make their name. They need to do it right. Hitboxes right, abilities right. But like, it also seems, and my takeaway from what we're just seeing when we're talking about, especially when we're talking about memes and money as a first impression, they're just trying to build and make a name for themselves. So they might be just like going for, not just, but going for a marketing plan where the big head mode, look at these funny clips that I made, which is something that I feel like Overwatch has lost a little bit. But that could also be player sentiment. People have gotten bored with the game. They're not memeing on it as much. They're not involved with it as much, not as angry at it as much. So like this might be a game where like it just kind of encapsulates them. But that encapsulation is also dangerous because it's like we're in the era of 2 weeks and then it's done. You buy a game, people play it for 2 weeks, they move on to the next game. So like, can this game create a sustained long-term thing? I'm surprised Fortnite, if I'm honest, I'm surprised Fortnite has lasted this long, but they've done things to shake it up, things that have been bad, things that have been good. And like Lego Fortnite is probably the best thing they've done for that game over the 5 or 7 years it's been out.
you don't think it was the Post Malone concert? Like,
that was pretty good, but man, it's still very specific.
Sure. Posty, my boy, the East Coast legend of of Post Malone. Yeah, I don't know. Like looking at this screen, man, like doesn't it look like, you know? Granted, we don't know the lore behind this game, which like we probably should, honestly, know more about the game on first impressions than we do about like, you know, we can understand all the mechanics. Like, it was just flashy. All of these character designs look off compared to one another, right? Like, they look like NPCs in 8 different, like, places. Or, sorry, I can't count to 11. 11 different places, right?
Yeah.
And, like, so, like, even, they didn't even match them up, like, properly, right? So, like, even the characters that are, like, right next to each other, if you look at, like, the redhead guy who's in the middle, the directly next to him, the 2 people right next to him, they look, like, out of place. Like, they don't, like, the art's just not matching up with, like, the rest of it, right? And the same thing on, like, the other side. It's just...
Well, Yeah. And like that's a fair criticism, especially for overall, but this is an alpha. And how many games release in alpha now? How many games release with so little attention to detail and how many glitches? Even Star Wars Hunters, like hitboxes and aim mechanics, they're just shit. Like it's so hard and it makes it feel even more like a cash grab because either
So finish the game.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
Like if you don't want to be shit on because you're not finished yet, like don't ask me how it looks or how it tastes before you're done cooking the fucking meal, okay? Like that's end of story, all right? Don't
Well-
have me ask me to taste raw chicken and go like, "How's the tacos? How are the tacos? Are the tacos good? Oh, you don't like it? We're not done yet. They're not done yet. The tacos aren't done yet." Like it's jackassery.
Well, two points of that is that nobody's asking you to give your opinion. We're just doing this belligerently because that's what we are. We're a belligerent
that's why they're
podcast.
releasing an alpha.
But
it's an open alpha. They want our opinion. That's how come it's an open alpha.
It's a closed alpha, but yeah, you're right. You're
they're
right.
Gonna let me in, and they ask me, "What's your
Yes.
opinion? Please submit some stuff."
Notes. Yeah.
If you let me play your alpha or you let me play your beta, you should be prepared to get torn the fuck down and be okay with it. And if you can't, you're made out of paper, and you should go the fuck home. Okay,
Dude, this isn't
like,
but this isn't like a drag them and roast them sort of thing. We want to bring up these concerns. No. I'm saying like just the way you're presenting it right now. It's just like, oh, yeah, you're going to invite me to your party and I'm just going to shit on your house, shit on your couch, shit on your TV. Like you don't have a Samsung TV.
Let me say it differently. You should be
I know
prepared
what you
for
mean.
bad actors. You should be prepared for bad actors when you ask for people's opinion or put it into the world where you want people's opinion, right? You can't just say your opinion doesn't matter. Like, even if it's a shit opinion,
I don't think they're,
deal with it.
I don't think they're saying that. And if anything, it was me saying, hey, in fairness, this is an alpha. So they still have work to do. It's a fair concern to have about this, but we need them to see. We said the same thing about Marvel Rivals. Like, the way they float, the way the characters look, like there's an aspect that's cool about it, but then, they need to finish the game. Ultimately, that's what this is. And that's the same thing. So I want to just point out real quick. Let me see if I can. There, okay, that didn't really work too well. So let me go back to here. You can see at the top here, or you can't because then YouTube is going to be Lobby, Arsenal, Store, and Battle Pass. They haven't finished the character icons or designing the character layout and whatnot, but they've got that Battle Pass in. They've got the mechanics for that, for sure.
I'm just going to ask you a question real quick, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Looking at the screen, anybody who's watching this, hi, our 10 subscribers, if you're watching this, look at all 11 of these characters, right?
Let's full screen it again. Yeah.
As like a person who's not a graphics artist, right? Why are they behind? Like, why are they put on top of this character with his movement and all of his like colors and stuff that are like kind of similar to a lot of the colors that they have instead of like there's this open section right over here, that has like a normal background of like the blue just off to the right.
Well, let me slow it down a little bit, and then we will play it. We'll play it out. So here we go, the character select screen, and yeah, it is multiple people.
Oh god, that guy's so octane, dude.
He's definitely octane. But here you go. You're right. Over there, and like that's a great graphical design. But this isn't a graphical design esport podcast. This is a competitive esport podcast, and it's a very fair point, and they, hopefully that design team gets there. But those little things definitely add up to make a better thing. What I will say too, I'm going to go back to the small screen for it so we can all see. It says Lancer, which is currently selected, which I believe it's going to be the name of the characters, the champions, the Lancers. Weapons, so it seems like there's going to be weapon loadouts or weapon skins. Got to get that money. And emotes, 100% Fortnite. Let's meme on them, bro. Let's run the mythic car up mid and just like run people over. Kind of moments.
I love games that you can have fun playing with your friends, right? But at a certain point, really what everybody wants is like a funky version of Destiny. You want like an MMO that you can really just like play with your friends, and there could be like some PvP with it. But really, like all these things are like just stuff that you want to sit down and do some like wacky stuff. And if you're a hardcore no-lifer on like Fortnite, playing like 10 hours a day on it, like God bless you, dude. Like you just love the game that much. Like I gotta that's awesome for you that you found something you love so much. But like, it's not.
It's tough, man, right? Because like we have to find the balance of fun and competitiveness, and that not that we have to. There's a criticism about the esportsification of everything. You don't have to play everything to win. There's, here's an analogy I always like to use. A cheesesteak versus a filet mignon, if I could talk. A cheesesteak is a steak, filet mignon is a steak, but they've got different purposes and different venues. Both are good. One could be garbage and trash and you still have a great time with it. The other could be $500 and like not worth it. So like it can go either way with it. There's different moments for different things. But like I think that's what we ultimately get at. We see the potential in a lot of these games for competitiveness, for funness, and we just see it get shit on. We just see it, not even shit on because like we're the bearer of bad news messengers on it, but because the developers like either know it and they're just like, hey, the goal is money grab. They don't know it and like they're kind of clueless on how to fix things, or that in between where it's like, yeah, we know it, but we can't do anything about it. So, thinking back to Halo 2 BXR where they couldn't get rid of it. So it's like, yeah, no, it's part of the game. It's absolutely part of the game.
Just do a part of the game anyway. Like, I like when glitches happen. And then everybody's got to like learn the glitch and stuff like that because so this is personal opinion though, but like I bet you the Smash Melee community is right on top of this with me. Like, you just need to get good and start playing the game and start figuring out the game more. The game is not unlocked at 100%. Okay, like people have been playing World of Warcraft for like 10 years, and the game and just recently people started the macro crazy. And the game got completely messed up because of the macros, and that only just recently happened. So, like, but if you take, like, Smash that's never been updated, the best character in the game is Jigglypuff. Was it always Jigglypuff? No. Whatsoever. It's never been Jigglypuff.
But that's the two things is macros and WoW have kind of been updated and changed in the last 10 years. So now it's supercharged where they can, especially now when you start talking about scripts and weak auras and etc. That's a whole other conversation we're going to probably talk about when we get into like the world race to world first. But then when you're talking about like Smash Melee, Nintendo fought against that for so long and so hard. I don't disagree with you where like that's the thing that made Smash Melee amazing. So when they went to Smash 4 or Brawl, when you'd randomly trip so you couldn't wave dash, that sucked.
Put it in the game. You know why they put it in the game? I'll tell you
they
right
wanted
now.
to stop.
Like cold hard secret.
No, he literally said so. They put it in the game so people couldn't wave dash as much.
No, that was what you were told. The reason why, and this is from a statistical standpoint, the reason why tripping was put into the game was because Diddy Kong would fuck you up. Diddy Kong has a fucking kill in that game, 100%. You can't do shit about it. Like, you could run away. That's it. But if Diddy Kong gets you, if there wasn't tripping in the game, he would fuck you up. And he would be the best character in the game instead of Meta Knight or Snake or something like that. Is literally Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong was
still one of the best characters in that game.
That's right.
So like that mechanic didn't really even do much of tripping. I'm not even talking about the banana peel stuff. Just the actual tripping thing. But either way, like Melee, the best part was those extra mechanics, but like that, there's also something to say where it's like, I don't need to. There should be a way for me to learn that. There should be a way, and it should be somewhat reasonable. Not that I need to like pay to win, put a lot of money into it. It's not to say that I can't or shouldn't have to put time into it. If I'm going to get good at anything, I'm going to need to practice and take time with it. So like wave dashing, I remember as a skill, like that took some time to get at and learn how to use. And then ledge dashing, platform dashing, all the different combinations to do that. Yeah, man, it's such a weird conversation point.
Like you don't experience that thing versus the computer. So if you're a person who wants to get competitive in a game, and then when you go to the competition, you go, holy shit, all these things are in the game and I didn't know about it? Why didn't they tell me? It's like, while I might understand that, you have a responsibility to discovery into the game that you like. If you're playing
right. But that's what we're here for. That's what we do. We kind of spotlight on that. Because even if I go to that tournament and I don't know what they're doing, I'm be like, how were they so good? How did I get my ass kicked? I suck. I'm not going to think, wow, they did something incredible. I don't even know what I'm looking at, but that's kind of the thing. The community has a hard time. Smash is interesting with that, and like it might be an exception because it's been around so long. There's a lot of data with it, a lot of people breaking down frames and like the mechanics and literally code for it. But when you get to these new games like this, I'm skeptical because who's going to dive into it deeply? There's going to be some cult group that does, Super Mario Strikers from the Wii or the GameCube back in '93. Like, they're going to be people who do that and still have those communities and stuff. So like, that's the part that I have a little bit of frustration for, but I think that may be the why I see this as being a necessity. Anyway, we're tangenting hard, and on this arena shooter watch segment here, let's finish out this. Trailer, man. All right, I'm gonna switch back into the trailer. We're gonna finish this out and
put it on.
Save your thoughts. Save your thoughts for the end here. So back on, get us back into normal speed, and let's go. There's the loot box. Oh, they're ranked cards too. You can power those cards up. Dude, hold on a second. Okay, so are you familiar with EA and Madden where they had the card mode, the trading card mode?
Yeah.
All right. How familiar are you with the contract? So like when you let's say you got Tom Brady as a card in the game, you can only.
He wasn't in the game?
No, he was in the game. Let's say you got Tom Brady as a card in the game, right? That's part of the packs. Right. You can randomly open it. Like it's literally just like a digital card in the physical game.
Sure. Okay.
So what would happen is you set your team and Tom Brady's your quarterback. You play a game. And then those cards literally have a contract limit on them, meaning you can only use those cards a certain amount of games. You can only play them a certain amount of time. So let's say that Tom Brady card you pulled from a pack, you can only play him in 10 games. After those 10 games, he disappears.
Yeah, you noticed that you had the same thought that I did with all that stuff, is that as soon as you said there's ranks, I was like, I bet you they're one-time use. Like,
I got that vibe.
You get cracks all the time.
I got that vibe from just the effect of like we pull a card like this, and what is he? They literally break it. He's literally gonna snap the card in a second. So there we go. Pick the card, snap the card. It gives me a vibe that he's going like in the game. You're gonna have to like collect the cards. You're gonna have to power them up, and they're gonna be one-time use. Like if that's the case,
drug addict shooter, bro. This is the drug addict shooter. They're just doing drugs on screen. It's like you replace all this card stuff with drugs. Like, oh, he took acid. Everything's wacky. Like, it's like, but
in that same way, this feels silly, right? Like, okay, now I'm gonna make a bunch of grass. Oh, he's got big head mode. Look, I'm gonna shoot everybody in the head because they've got big heads. Like, it just feels like it's gonna be like a little kid's dream.
Yeah, people love randomness. Like, I'll be honest, like, as soon as you have a competitive game that has, like, randomness, like, your player base skyrockets. It's a joke.
Until, I was about to say, until it doesn't.
It goes down all the time. That's why Hearthstone is exactly where it's always been. Nowhere near an actual trading card game, unfortunately.
All right, here's the rest of that trailer. Just, kind of do it. Oh, he found a card. HUD rework. Yep, breaks the card. This all sounds cool, and maybe it makes more sense as like a Left 4 Dead style game. Maybe it makes more sense for like a one-person shooter, like FPS story game campaign.
Is there like a creature in the map that ate them?
I don't. Oh no, it was a card they pulled. Basically, you have the Grim Reaper come after you. Like but like.
So he has to be certain health in order for the Grim Reaper to get you.
5v5 rule-changing hero shooter. That's their tagline here. And that's where we're going to finish on that. 5v5 rule-changing. That sounds amazing. Anyway.
I changed my opinion. The game looks so good.
I'm not even going to go into the Microsoft article about it, but, as we wrap this up, any final thoughts? Because we've been on this for like a half hour.
Nah. I'm good.
Way more than I thought we were going to be doing.
I don't think it was
for
a
this
half
game.
hour, but yeah.
Way more than I thought we were going to be doing for this, but anyway, yeah. All right, so we're going to move next into our topic of Overwatch. This one is a little bit more, not nuanced, but it's bigger, surprisingly. Overwatch Face It qualifiers were this past couple weekends when we had the World Qualifiers for the Esports World Cup in Overwatch, and we're going to run you down on the results because I like Overwatch. Nick kind of likes Overwatch. And if you like Overwatch, this is great for you. So first and foremost, here's the participants in this, people who qualified for this playoffs, essentially. Toronto Defiant, TSM, M80, Luminosity, Pirates in Pajamas, NRG Shock, which was formerly students of the game, Shikigami, Fluffy Aimers. We're starting to see some teams who got in via points and not through the OWCS. We don't see in OWCS. Citrus Nightmare, Smart Fellas, Timeless, Gilbert's Nightmare, Citrus Nightmare, Gilbert's Nightmare. Okay. Green Fortnite, UNC Inc., Valentine, and Avidity all competed to win the spot to go to the Esports World Cup for Overwatch here. I do want to make a quick note while we're in the roster section here. M80 is not the team that we once knew. Literally from 2-3 weeks ago, they've dropped Happy Pelican and Hawk. There's been updates in that, and I'm sure if you're on top of this, you know. But they picked up Kaluge, they picked up Spectra, and they picked up Tree. I don't know if this was a forced retirement, if we're going to go a different direction because of your performance, or if the players are like, nah, I'm out. But I do know that Hawk is officially retired while Happy and Pelican are currently inactive. Best of luck to those guys. I really enjoyed watching them play. And best of luck to the new guys. Let's see how they do with the new M80 squad here. Any input before we move into the winners, Nick?
I got nothing on this one.
All right. That's fine. Wanted to check in with you because I don't want to just monologue here at the camera. All right, so these are the teams that are competing, and we're going to break down the roster in the brackets in a second. But here we are with the MVP and the winners. Toronto Defiant up on top. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. Toronto Defiant taking away first place here, winning 10 grand. M80 taking second place with their somewhat new roster, pulling away 3,500, and Timeless NRG coming in third and fourth. A little bit of a shock to see Timeless, but Timeless has been up and down, pushing and pull, maybe based on meta, maybe not. All four of these teams are qualified to the Season 2 Master, which I believe is a Face It League specifically for Overwatch. But 1 and 2, Toronto and M80, are going to Esports World Cup. They're flying over to Dubai. Saudi Arabia it is? Yeah, Saudi Arabia. So congratulations to them on their tournament wins and their competition here. Congratulations to RuPaul getting that drag race. No, getting the tournament MVP overall. This one was interesting as a tournament because there was a lot of interesting narratives. There was a lot of unique narratives that were playing out as the games were going through NA. Just coming out of DreamHack, we saw some change-ups. NA did not perform well at DreamHack, and this was the first tournament back after that, so they needed to show their stuff. But even then, it seemed a little sketch. And then we've got everybody else here that qualified or didn't qualify. Not bad.
Hasn't Toronto been a little up and down? I think the last time we talked about them, they weren't even they weren't winning, and then the time before that, they were winning.
Yeah, so stage two of the OWCS, they were a little sketchy, but then they pushed through against NA. But the second they got into DreamHack, they 3-0'd the first team, which was a no-brainer, a nothing burger. And then now, they got stomped. So NA got knocked out really quick, and they were effectively the worst region in the 3 regions tournament. So I'm going to scroll us down into the bracket here, kind of roll at what's happened. They do seem dominant here in NA, which could be saying something, but it could also be saying nothing. They went 15-0 with a 30-1 map differential. They only dropped 1 map overall, it seems. So a plus 29 differential. M80 coming up as the second strongest, which I would assume would happen, but not entirely sure why it happened. Luminosity Gaming, Maryville, is the one I'm a little shocked at being number 5, but You have good days, bad days. There is some people saying that Dante's over the hill and he's hasn't make it, but maybe they're not taking this as seriously. Maybe they don't really want to go and compete. Maybe there's a shake up over there. TSM is interesting to see up here as well as Energy Shock. But I can go on my opinions and thoughts on this, but to your point, to your question, as shaky as Toronto Defiant is, they still seem to be top dog in North America for some reason, which
So
I don't know. I don't know if it speaks to just the strength of North America in general right now, especially with Overwatch. Maybe they all just boomed.
We made it in a dead game, y'all. I'm playing. We're topping one, boys. We got esports. Let's go.
Congratulations.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Congratulations, North America. We in it.
They are officially the president of esports now.
That's sick. That's sick.
But yeah, with it, we're I'm conflicted about this because I think ultimately too, it's not really showing that NA is very strong right now. And I don't know if it's the meta thing or if it's literally a play thing, but getting into the playoffs, the play of it, upper bracket and lower bracket, Toronto comes out against Citrus Nation, which has been a little bit of a thorn in people's sides. But they 3-0 them, knock them down to the lower bracket immediately. They 3-0 TSM, and then they 3-0 M80, which, again, they're proving something here, but they're proving nothing because it's NA. TSM over Luminosity in a close one. M80 over Shikigami, and then NRG, which NRG, Students of the Game, a close one. I believe they did have a matchup in DreamHack, so we're going to see some, I guess, these rivalries kind of recur. We've seen these matchups happen again where they're pushing each other, they're competing against each other. But this lower bracket really is where, I don't want to say there's upsets here, but Students of the Game dominantly over Citrus Nation. They have their number, they figure them out. Citrus Nation over Luminosity. For Luminosity, Maryville getting knocked out in first round, upper first round lower, is not a great look. It could be an off moment. It could be a not really in it. Maybe they're boomed overall. Maybe they're rusty, but no excuses, no Johns here. They're lost. They couldn't pull out the win. Timeless making a lower run here all the way up to M80, but then getting 3-0'd by M80. So there was some wackiness here, some stuff you don't expect. People weren't sure what to expect with M80 with the new roster. People were expecting differently from Luminosity. So there's a lot here. Anything off of your top of your head here before we move into just the Esports World Cup and what this means for that?
I got nothing. I'm just excited for more. I wish there wasn't smashes. It looks a little bit disappointing for a lot of the fans, especially for the semifinals and then the grand finals. Looks pretty uneventful. And with a game like Overwatch, if one team is leading too hard, it kind of is just not worth it, right? I feel that way about League too. If the team is just dominating, it's all right. Cool.
Yeah, I can understand that point. But in that same way, I like the nuance of it. I like GOATs. And it did go on for a while, but I like the nuance and the specificality of metas like that. So when you have 3 Overwatch, when you have 4 Overwatch like this, it could probably be one-sided, but I'm still interested in the nuance of what they do, how they do it on the winning side, on the losing side. I just to this point, really quickly, Stanley Cup Finals happened. Game 7 was last night. I was recording this. It shouldn't have gone to Game 7. The Florida Panthers went 3-0 in the first 3 games, and it looked like a lock, right? The Edmonton Oilers came back, and they won the next 3 games. In fact, they won one of those games scoring 8-1. So, it was a completely different team and completely different visualization experience. So that's something you're always hoping for and wishing for, but, that can also be rare, especially for games like League of Legends and Overwatch, where you have that run back come through. Toronto Defiant going 4-0 against M80 at the end, that had the potential of seeing a Game 7 if M80 was able to make something happen, show the grit, do the thing like the Edmonton Oilers were, but they didn't. That's the thing I live for as a fan of sports and esports. Seeing Game 7 last night for the Stanley Cup, it was nail biting how close it was. So like, I agree with your point. I want games like that. They are few and far between, and the stat lines like this make it look like and seem like they're not close. But I'm sure there is a lot more nuance involved in the specificality of these games here.
Definitely
Any other?
some of those matches.
Yeah.
Like in some of those matches, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, man, and it's a rough thing to do, you know, especially in esports. Esports is something that there's a lot of mental involved, a lot of technical involved, like literally equipment, and you don't necessarily have the same kind of setup as an NHL team. But either way, you're competing for your salary, you're competing for your livelihood, you're competing for your future. These guys have more on the line committing to this than a lot of other people do. Sorry, just a quick cough. But with that, the future for this is the Esports World Cup. It's coming up in about 2 weeks, the start of it. But Overwatch is going to be taking a start, I believe, in week 4 on July 23rd. We're going to quickly go over what to expect with this tournament, but we're going to have a bigger breakdown next week. So make sure you do all the internet stuff. Stick around if you want to see that. If you want to get the information with it. So first and foremost, Esports World Cup happening. This is a tournament of 30 different games happening in Saudi Arabia. We're bringing all the games together to compete internationally. Think of it as like World Cup with FIFA, all the different teams from all the different countries coming in, not necessarily representing the countries, but representing just individuals from all over the world competing to see who's the best. I think there's, what was the number? 60 million total prize dollars being given away?
Yeah, something along those lines. It was quite a crazy number.
Right, and they were going for the largest prize pool ever put up. All right, so
yeah, 60 million, you got it right.
All right, memory serves me right. Great, I can count. So here we go. The tournament's going to start on July 2nd. Here, we're going to be seeing Call of Duty Warzone kick us off, MSC Mid-Season Cup, which. Let's see if nope, can't even.
It's MLB.
I guess I don't know if it's MLB baseball.
Right. Over to the right.
Yeah, I see it.
ML.
Yeah, ML:BB. We'll take a look at what game code it is, but Riot Masters League of Legends is starting on the 3rd of July. It's a Thursday. Call of Duty is continuing. League of Legends. So this is a brief overview of when to start watching. League of Legends is actually finishing up pretty closely. Pretty quickly by comparison. It's starting on the 3rd and it's going to end on the 6th. So 3-4 day tournament for League of Legends here. Nick, you were saying that you're looking forward to this one for League?
Yeah, it's MSI. It's MSI 2 for the most part. It should be fun. Just because in the more recent games that I've seen, there hasn't been too much lane swapping, specifically in NA for the most part, and some other regions. So it should be a little bit more entertaining to watch. And I'm not sure which patch they're going to be on. That's probably the more interesting part because it's not run by Riot. It's run by
by Facebook.
It's probably run by Riot. Right, but maybe these guys get to determine if it's if a patch comes out that they're not going to play on that patch and they'll play on a previous patch.
Well,
so
I think
I'm not 100% sure.
At least the Overwatch stuff is being run by Faceit, and Faceit is associated with Esports World Cup because they're owned by the same company that is owned by Saudi Arabia. So I wouldn't doubt that it's Faceit kind of doing the tournament organization or another sister company to Faceit. So yeah, it'd be cool to see what kind of patch they're running on. That's gonna make it interesting. With the lane swapping point, what do you feel is the reason for that? Very briefly, very quickly, because I know we had talked about it previously, and it seemed like it was happening a lot with MSI because they felt like they had a bad pick ban phase and they needed to make up on that deficit, and it kind of just it locked up the game. So what do you think has changed where they're not doing that?
Nothing really has changed. It just seems there just haven't been opportunities for a lot of matches or a willingness to really lane swap. Okay. Just in general. So, but it's just good for the viewers. And I'll be honest, Riot might have actually just said dude, stop. Like, it's not an every game thing. If I catch you guys doing it every game, we're gonna cut the percentage that you guys get, that your team gets from like viewership, because like we're losing viewers because you guys are lane swapping too much.
Well, I doubt that. I doubt that they're going to be able to do something that extreme immediately. But they probably are talking to them like, "Listen, we're going to put a rule in, and it's going to hurt everybody, and we don't want to do that. So, like, if you guys want the health of the game, stop it," kind of thing. I'm sure it's more of a conversation. If they had that conversation, to be more of a conversation like that. That seems completely, they're not going to go full nuclear where it's like, yeah, we're going to just cut your money like off the bat. But yeah, man.
Here's a funny thing.
Okay.
League of Legends prize pool is only $1 million.
Only?
And the reason why it's exactly right. Yeah, here you go. Mobile Legends Bang Bang has a $3 million prize pool for this.
Well, I was going to say $1 million is still pretty solid because wasn't MSI just like $1 million total?
Dota choose 5.
But Dota's a different game. Dota is like on a whole nother level when it comes to prize pools and whatnot. But like League, the MSI one,
it's not supported by the fans. That's why it's weird.
Right.
So like this is determined from this like organization that like Mobile Legends Bang Bang is getting $3 million for their prize pool. So I don't know if there's a breakdown for every single thing. I just see the breakdown for MOBAs right now.
Well, in that note, real quick, when you're talking about prize pool, I believe, let me just make sure this was this year. Yeah. Okay. It was this year MSI. And we're talking about a $250,000 prize pool. And it's just one tournament. So for League of Legends to have $1 million prize pool for this tournament, that's not, I don't think that's an only. I was being sarcastic, but I think that's a great prize pool. But yeah, when you compare it to a mobile game getting 5 million, 3 million, you said?
3 million.
That feels bad.
So like it's weird because like I'm sure Dota will probably have like its viewership numbers are probably going to be there. And that could be also like a determining factor in general. But like, League does pretty well as far as like viewership is concerned just in general.
It could also be backroom conversations and backroom contracts. Like League of Legends agreeing to this, but then, they don't want to look bad. Riot doesn't want to look bad if they're giving away $10 million at the Esports World Cup and Riot's only giving away 1 million. Like, I know that's not the numbers, but just like, they might also be on the back end limiting how the scope of it, where the players can win, etc., to fit their ecosystem. So like, there's a lot of things that could be going into this. Like you're saying, a mobile game has a lot more pay to win or a lot more monetization avenues. So they could be just pulling that money, farming that money for this prize pool. The viewerships with Dota might be a lot bigger and better than it is for League or Overwatch. But, that's all kind of speculative.
Considering they get considering the amount of people that donate into the prize pool for the World Championship for Dota, I would assume that they have a pretty... Dota fans are Dota fans. Like, they love Dota, and they stand by their game. I have not met too many Dota fans that do not like their game, and they will stand firm on it's better than League, and I won't have that argument because it's like they are a little bit different. But I probably would say like League is closer to checkers than it is chess compared to Dota. But that being said, forgot where I was going with it. But yeah.
No, I hear you on that. And apples and oranges kind of thing. So moving back into just the esports schedule. Moving back into the Esports World Cup schedule. At week 4 is when we're going to see Overwatch, which is where we were segmenting from. July 23rd is the first day of competition, group stage there. That's going to be going all the way probably through the week because it seems the format is every week is a new game or another new 2 games. We have PMWC, PUBG Mobile, as well as Overwatch 2 happening on week 4 of it with the playoffs for Overwatch starting on the 27th. So it seems Overwatch is going to go from the 23rd all the way into week 5. Nope, it's going to be ending there, it seems. But we have Street Fighter, Fortnite closing out the tournament, seems like. Yeah.
Bro, what is it? What was
StarCraft
that
2
Masters game?
We have Football Club happening week 5. We're going to be doing a bigger breakdown of all the games and where you can watch it, when you can watch it for Esports World Cup happening. But I'm just trying to find real quickly the end of Overwatch. And it seems like it was on the 27th. It was just a 4-day tournament. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of big games here. Rocket League, Tekken, PUBG finishing out. Yeah. They're going to close out the whole Esports World Cup, it seems, on week 8. Whereas Overwatch starting week 4 on the 23rd. So those are the dates to look forward to. Those are the things we're going to be prepping for and be talking about for the next couple weeks. But we'll have a big breakdown of the Esports World Cup as of next week with the scheduling and whatnot. Nick, you've got a very confused look on your face, and I want to know what's going on in your head right now.
Because I was trying to figure out what this one game was.
Let's take a look at the games. Let me see if I can bring it up too.
Yeah, if you go to the games on the website, it actually has all the prize pools and stuff like that.
Right. Apex Legends, Modern Warfare. I'm going to scroll through this quickly. Warzone, Counter-Strike 2. I don't want to go too fast. Rida Masters, FC Club 24.
Rida Masters is like Dota, by the way. That's what I was just looking up.
Okay. ESL, I believe, is another, what is it, CSGO? CS game. Fortnite, featuring Fortnite. Kind of weird that it's featuring Fortnite, but okay. Free Fire, Honor of Kings. There's Mobile Legends. I like how MSC is bigger than the game logo here. Mid-Season Cup is bigger than Mobile Legends. I wonder if they're trying to hide Mobile Legends. But
yeah,
League of Legends.
A lawsuit for it.
League of Legends also there. Then we have, let's see, what is this? Overwatch 2, and then this is women's mobile. I think it's the same thing, whether it's just like the women's league, women's international, which I know we were talking about that milk competition a couple months ago. I do like seeing this stuff happen, just like I like seeing the WNBA trying to put forth the time to watch the games, get a part of it, but ultimately we hear about competitive integrity. I do think that the women's league has the competitive integrity. I do want to see more fans get a part of that competitive integrity so that there's more cheering, etc. So I like seeing that. I like to see it on the biggest platform here. PMWC, PUBG Battlegrounds, which I think this is mobile, PUBG Mobile. And then there's the Battlegrounds, the PC mode.
We play games with hot plates. That's mobile gaming on stage, bro. Like
a giant tablet the size of your face. Yeah.
Dude, they play with tablets or their phones. They're jacked in all the time into a power outlet. That thing is cooking your fingertips. It's like absolutely cooking you, bro.
Yeah, start cooking a cheeseburger on that stuff. Give me a hot pocket. Rainbow Six Siege next up. Rocket League. And just to kind of finish this out, StarCraft 2, Street Fighter, Teamfight Tactics, Tekken. And that's the games, the major games. We'll be breaking down all the prize pools and the teams qualifying next week. So again, stick around, subscribe, follow us, check us out on YouTube, check us out on social media. We'll clip this up so you can get it a little more digestible. But that's what we got for Esports World Cup now. Final thoughts on the Esports World Cup? Are you looking forward to it? Are you is there one specific game besides League that you are excited to see?
Let's go to the clip. Let me go to the list real quick. I don't know. Overwatch. I'm gonna give some stuff on Overwatch. Let me see. I don't even know what game that is. Apex is gonna be fun. Apex is always a good watch. I'm not watching Modern Warfare. I'm not watching Warzone. You could probably not pay me to watch either one of those games. Free Fire.
Good thing
I won't be watching.
It's a good thing I don't pay you at all.
Yeah, seriously, dude. I would not want this. Obviously, I'm not going to watch Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And it might be that low, by the way, because Tencent won a lawsuit against them for $2.3 billion.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't see a story about that. Maybe we got to talk about that one.
They got sued at it was $2.9 million. Sorry, not billion, but billion's a crazy number. It could have been yuan, billion yuan. Yeah. I know.
I think, of course, of course, I'm looking forward to Overwatch. I'm looking forward to League, but if I can't choose those, I want to see the fighting games. I think with the World Cup of this, it's not just going to be another regional finals and not going to be another specific finals. So I think the fighting games, Tekken, Street Fighter, etc., are going to be
Tekken
cool.
Tekken will be a good watch.
Good watch.
If you've never watched the Tekken tournament, Street Fighter basically is either in a Ken Ryu meta or a non-Ken Ryu meta. And 9 times out of 10, they're in a Ken Ryu meta because
I think the last tournament that I watched, that it was there was a pretty heavy Blanca meta as like a dark horse of that. But that stuff can change via the patch notes for the developer. It's been a while since we've checked in on Street Fighter. Excuse me.
Real disrespectful thought right here. Tekken is where the real fighting game people play. No joke. No joke.
I know
it's not the most difficult game. It's not the most complex, I'll say, right? But it is probably the chess of fighting games.
Yeah, I know right now Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are having a bit of a moment where they're struggling. It's not really a struggle, but people are frustrated, whereas Tekken, it's not to say they don't have frustrations, but they're definitely more happy, if those are words, more happy with the game, the developer, where the state is, the way they can play, the counterplay, etc. It seems to be in a healthier state overall.
Yep, it's always been that way though. They've always had good. It's always been there's counterplay to it at least. In the game for the most part, and a lot of fighting games in general. Even Smash kind of got like this at a certain point. There's things you do, and only a certain way that your opponent can react. And the fact that Tekken's essentially a 3D environment, right? Because you can literally move completely circled around the map, changes a lot just in general compared to the 2D fighters, right? Where it's just up down.
And you know what? If we were making this podcast back in the 90s when Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat were the fighting games, and then Tekken and King of Fighters come out where you can traverse the third plane going back and front, not just left and right. I guess that's maybe second plane. But anyway, when you can do that, we might have called it a bit of a gimmick, a little bit of an expectation. But the way they approached it, the way they did it has been super solid. And it's add that competitive integrity and depth to it where you're just inching the ceiling up higher and still keeping the floor accessible to players, which is exactly what you want to see. Accessible to players, so it's fun, it's reachable, everybody can get involved, everybody can understand to some degree what's happening. It's not just and I know there's been a lot of complaints about Overwatch where it's just visual madness. You got to be able to see and look and do the things you want to do. But anyway, I'm looking forward to Esports World Cup. I'm probably going to watch everything except for the mobile games. I'll even give Call of Duty and Warzone a try for a little bit. But honestly, I'll probably get bored of those pretty quickly because anyway. But yeah, not to drag that. I'll watch FIFA, man, especially for this kind of competition, just because, again, the interesting part for me is that you have all these kinds of people from all over the world who probably don't usually compete, right? They don't compete against each other. They don't go region to region like this. And for them to have a world tournament like this, where everybody's kind of coming together, you kind of have that with EVO. But how much is that really happening? EVO is in a much different place than this is going to be. So this being in Saudi Arabia changes that up. I feel like it's going to be more accessible to more people. I don't want to say more accessible to more people. It's going to be more accessible to different people, which is where I'm interested in this. I think that's a better tagline on that. But anyway. All right. You're clickety-clacking. What are you looking for before we go on to our next topic?
Nothing. I was just looking at the games.
All right.
And just checking out, checking out more of the Riyadh Masters,
Gotcha.
I guess.
Yeah.
Dota. It looks like Dota. It looks very similar to Dota, even art. So
is it like a mobile version of Dota, not by Valve or Steam, but by some knockoff? It
didn't look like it was
clone?
a mobile version. They look like they're on stage with keyboards and stuff.
Okay, that's a plus. Immediately a plus in my book.
Yeah, so it looks like looks like Dota. I do not think. This looks
okay. Great. Well,
but yeah.
All right, let's make some magic and move into our next topic, Magic the Gathering. They recently had an updated ban list come out this week, literally, yesterday? And I guess no news is good news because they didn't do shit. Let's take a look at it real quick here. The ban announcement, restriction announcement as of yesterday by Andrew and Dave here. And all formats, no changes in any of the formats is the big tagline here. No changes in all formats. I don't really have too much of an opinion other than from what we've talked about, Nick. You are our guy here. You are our expert. Let's fucking go.
Right,
okay?
so
what do you got to
let's
say
go
about
down it,
this?
right? All right, so they have standard, right? Standard's like whatever. I don't like when they ban cards out of standard, just in general, because I think that just means that they don't know how to make sets and cards.
Yeah, that's a good point
it
because
just
standard
means,
is standard is the last 3 sets, or what? How much is the time frame on that?
So it's 3 years now. It's 3
Okay.
years of sets. The last 3 years of sets, they're doing like an early rotation next month. But things gets cookie cutter like pretty quickly. But I really think that there's like a couple problems there. They just they don't make supplemental sets anymore for standard. They used to, but now it's just only standard sets, no core sets. People hated the core sets. People love the core sets. You could find one of each group. It doesn't really matter. But they're just looking at a couple cards. It's not too crazy.
I hear you. I hear you.
And it's not too broken.
It makes a lot of sense too that why would they really do bans and restrictions on cards like this, because they literally just made them. So if they did that, they're acknowledging how bad they fucked up, which is not a great look. So I can see why they really wouldn't touch standard that much. Then let's move into Pioneer. Any thoughts on Pioneer?
Yeah, Pioneer, Amalia needs to go, but they're not going to ban Amalia till next week, and they actually reference her in the thing.
Yeah,
right?
literally right
One thing
here.
we're doing, keep a close eye on Amalia. Shut up. That is words that needs to be banned. That's a shut up. Just shut up. I don't care about your corporate nonsense, but the reason why it's not going to get banned is because basically the Pro Tour, right, the RCQ that I went to on Sunday, and everything like that, Pioneer's huge right now. The tournament, the qualifier tournaments that are going on right now are for the tournament in October. People are qualifying with Amalia decks. They're qualifying with Rakdos Vampires. Some people are getting early in the RCQ season, we'll say. People were getting more Izzet Phoenix, but Amalia has 14% of the deck share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vampires has 21%, and we I've already shown you
wow.
as soon as you get too high on that, something needs to be done. But the reason why they're not going to ban Vampires for the most part is because the cards are just too expensive. It's $300, $400 more expensive than every other deck in the format for the most part that does well. So Amalia is
kind
a
of
$300-$400 deck.
Yeah,
and
that kind of feels bad.
7-8.
That kind of feels bad because then it kind of feels like a pay to win. But then it also feels like I have the cards, I should be able to use
Magic
them.
is pay to win. In most formats, Magic is pay to win. But this one is a low cost one, and the Amalia combo for the most part basically makes extremely poor play patterns for a lot of people in the early game. This combo can go off on turn 3, and it could just win the game. And they can go up to 76 life, or whatever the number is.
Oh yeah, and you can see Amalia is ward pay 3 life. So if you have that much resource for life, you're going to be running the deck. So a really quick question: you mentioned that these people are playing these decks and qualifying for the competition in October or this fall. It's players that are qualifying, not the decks, right? They could literally use a different deck. Okay.
They could use a different deck, but Amalia decks are cheaper. They're relatively cheap. They're also pretty easy to pilot. No disrespect to people who play Amalia combo. There are some. Okay. You do get better the more you play a deck. Do not get me wrong, but the floor on this thing is it's pretty low. It's pretty easy to pick up, and basically everybody starts at 20 life. You know that, right? You've played it before. This thing infinitely grows until it's a 20, kills all other creatures, and then kills you. So basically it's really hard to deal with, and they can do it at the end of your turn to go into their turn with an Amalia or the combo pieces. A lot of their decks synergizes together to provide this combo, and there's a situation that can occur, I think, 2 different ways, but the one way that I want to talk about is basically she ticks up, right? It's like whenever you gain life, she explores, destroy all other creatures when you right.
Yeah.
So explorers reveal a top card of your library, put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on your creature and put it back or put it into your graveyard, right? And so the way that this works is you're going to explore and just go up to 20. You keep the card on top, and whenever you gain life. So, but if it gets to 19, right? So this combo is basically very like mechanical. It just happens like immediately.
Yeah. I was about to say
so you
there's a lot of
explore
steps
once.
in this.
Yeah. So like you have a card that says whenever a creature explores, gain a life, or whenever a creature comes into play, you gain a life. Another card will say whenever you gain a life, explore. And so like it basically would just go back and forth off each other. If this card gets to 19, okay, or 18 or whatever, right? Like let's say it gets close to 20. We'll use 19 as an example. And
Okay.
you give this card a +2/+2, okay? It goes up to a 21, not a 20. So the check for power is exactly 20 never happens.
Oh.
And so the only way to stop this stupid computer of magic cards, and it's just a stupid computer with a glitch in it at this point,
Yeah.
is to concede your match. You need to concede as the Amalia player, or it becomes a draw.
Interesting.
Okay? And anytime that happens, alongside poor play patterns, as I've discussed multiple times in other formats, poor play patterns make the game not fun. Stupid shit that just happens and you can't stop regardless of interaction or something like that. Like, as in, this just continuously goes off and no one can stop it, man.
Yeah, so that makes sense why they're looking at this, and that's why it's been a pain in the ass in Pioneer currently. And you just had a taste of this when you went to the qualifiers.
Oh, I
right?
didn't even have a taste for it. I already knew about this deck. Like this.
No, I know.
as soon
It's
as I
like,
found out.
did you didn't play against this, or did you?
I did not play against it at all.
Okay.
But like that's not even like. I don't mind it. I'm playing Phoenix. My deck interacts very well with the field, but even for me, if I tap out on turn 2, and you're going for turn 3 to drop your land, I die. Like that's literally how easy the deck is. You die on turn 3 if you tap out, and that is not a one step down from standard sentence. That is a legacy vintage sentence. Did you tap out on turn 1? You're dead. Oh, you tapped out on turn 2? You're dead. Like
I got you. Okay.
That is
when you put it in that
$3,000 like on a
when
deck.
when you put it that way, it where standard on the scale of standard to legacy being all the cards from the last 30 years of Magic the Gathering at any price point, being able to do all the crazy busted things that you want to do, that makes sense versus standard being the last 3 years of sets, more of entry level kind of mechanics, basically whatever they're developing and making right now. So for Pioneer to be the next up, that seems a bit like heavy-handed for the next. I don't want to say difficulty, but like the next tier level in that way. So moving into the third tier level here, though, Modern. I want to just keep us moving. How are we looking at Modern? Any thoughts or?
Nadu's busted.
They mentioned Nadu.
So they referenced Nadu because they pushed Nadu. Nadu, basically, there's a card called Orcish Bowmaster that has been in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, whatever. It's just not in the other formats. It's made in the Lord of the Rings set, and it's for 2 mana, and it says whenever an opponent draws a card, besides the first card that they draw on their draw step, you deal 1 damage to any target. And then you also make a 1/1, or you can put a 1/1 counter on an orc, right? This card specifically says, I just put shit in my hand, or I put it onto the field. And, like, it's busted with an interaction on a card called Shuko, and I can't remember the core soldier's knight, or like whatever his name is. Basically, there's a couple cards that will target your creature for free. Yeah. And these cards have been around.
No.
And they've been around and they've worked in Breakfast before, a deck called Cephid Breakfast or Octopus Breakfast. And basically, the fact that they can actually, like, target this guy and interact with him proactively for zero
Yep.
zero mana whatsoever leads you to have crazy card advantage. This card is pretty busted, but it's only because they're not paying their taxes. Like I said this to you before, right? You're not paying any mana, you're not doing anything, you're not paying your taxes,
Right.
and you're doing it proactively. It's literally like, I pay 0 mana and I do something, and your opponent goes like, all right, let me try to pay 0 mana and stop that thing, right? Like, that's the only response to it. Proactive free shit is broken in Magic. Every time. Every time. Proactive free shit is broken. And even if it's not, like, broken right now, it could be broken next month, next year, the week after.
Yeah, the next set, yeah. Or somebody figures something out. Like, it's Magic is all about that rules lawyering stuff. It is resource management. I think you've said it. It feels to me like it's Excel spreadsheets, but in like little card forms where every little card has a different rule and you have to just fit them all together in this puzzle. Not knocking it. I don't have that skill. My brain isn't built for that sort of thing. But I know so many people who are and do. And when you put it that way, where it's like, okay, here's Nadu with a combo. What was it? Skorda? What was the name of the card?
Shuko.
Shuko.
And then there's like a 4-9.
Yeah, you showed me Shuko yesterday, but it like immediately reading Nadu and Shuko, it just made sense to what you're saying. Nobody's paying their taxes when they're playing this card. You're getting free resources for nothing, and you get to do it first. Basically, without any
you
sort
get to do
of
it twice per turn, per creature you have. And so if you put another creature into play after getting the creature, you can do it again. And so like that's the part of the interaction that's broken. Nadu, the ability is relatively broken, but it wouldn't be so crazy if you had to pay like 1 mana. Like it would still be pretty good, but eventually you have to tap out for mana. But again, if you're not using a resource and you're just pulling shit out of the ether, it's broken. It's always broken. You just pull shit out of the ether, man. Like you're a fucking magician. Like it's crazy.
Well, I mean, you are a magician. You're a wizard in this game, but I hear what you're saying. You're a planeswalker.
No, it's like planeswalkers are just like now characters in the game. I don't know what the overall lore is anymore for like the player character. But yeah, they just released Modern Horizons 3 about 2 weeks ago. It did change Modern pretty drastically. But again, this could just change this is people testing some stuff out. And they come back onto Grief Scam because Grief Scam is super strong in Modern. Because Grief is fucking busted. Yay.
Is this the point where you want to say, is this the point where you want to say that you're right? That, I told you so?
I don't even tell people I told you so, dude, because it gets me mad. Like it gets me more mad than my first like thing. Like, thanks for joining. Like the
we were talking about this,
Legacy?
but we were talking about grief and like the problem with grief months ago at this point. But before the last ban restriction list came out, I think before the last 2. But anyway, if we go to Legacy, what do you want to say?
I hate them. So again, we have the same sentence of we will continue to monitor the play rate and win rate of whatever. You could put a Malia here, you could put Reanimator here. We already knew it was busted. I literally went to like this is what I was saying multiple different times, right? I went to God, I can't remember the name of it now. The huge Legacy tournament, Eternal Weekend. I went to Eternal Weekend for Legacy, right? And I'm a Grief player. I've literally been saying Grief is busted for 2.5 years. It creates disgusting patterns of play. It's not that it's like overpoweredly strong, but again, it's free, proactive shit. Like you just yoink shit out of your opponent's hand for free, and people will be like, "You got to exile a card." And it's like, I'm so glad you were able to use 3 cards to take 2 cards from me, and now you have a 3/2 body with Menace. That's wonderful. That's so great, bro. Like, it's just a toxic play pattern. So, like, I said it before. I'll say it again. And at least the guy who's at Wizards, who's paid to be the expert on the health of Legacy, because I'm sure, I hope that there's a person for each one. There's a person for each thing trying to keep it healthy. That person even said Grief needs to be banned. And Wizards of the Coast was like, go fuck yourself. Like, so they didn't do it. They're not doing it now. They're probably going to do it in August, and if they don't do it in August, we're dealing with it until next year. Like, and I'm not even joking because, again, Eternal Weekend happens in December. So if you're not banning something in August, you're leaving people with what? If you did ban it in August, you at least give them 3-4 months of play and practice for their deck that doesn't have these cards, your cards that people are going to have to, like, you know, you're going to have to change, right? But if they don't ban it, then, like, it's exactly the same going forward, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. And
But I think
say I was right, but I don't need to be.
You're goading me here. You're goading me into saying that you're right. I don't like saying it, but I'm going to say it here. You were right. You did send me a tweet that you were super mad about seeing this today, where it's specifically on Grief Reanimate. Let me switch this into that and get us a better view here. On Grief, Reanimate, and Legacy, not a fun play pattern to happen often. It was the most difficult decision with this ban and release restricted list, my bad, because there aren't any major tournaments and there is no room for people to experiment with MH3, the new set. We can package Eternal formats in August, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so,
it seems like that they're looking at banning it in August with the next ban and restriction, but the reasoning they're not is because there's no majors right now and that there's room for people to try to figure it out, basically.
Yeah. What they just said was LGSs will suffer. People will stop going to LGSs, which
Local
they've
gaming
already done.
stores, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there's literally, I'm not even joking with you, there's literal LGSs that are out there posting about how they could not get people to come to their legacy tournaments, okay, until they made a house rule, like as if it was Commander, and ban Grief. Like, it's the stupidest crap I've ever seen, man. And it gets me, like, real heated, because why don't we experiment without Grief? And then you can just, like, and then you can put it back in and see if people want to play Grief again. Like, like that's my opinion on it. Like,
It's
a Grief
it is
player.
tough because
I'm a
I
Grief
know
player. Like,
it's tough. I know, but you're right. We've been talking about this, and it very much seems like Grief is the problem. I know from a developer standpoint that, you know, you do want to let players figure stuff out, but like this isn't it's only been out for the new set for like a couple weeks, a couple months, maybe a year. This has been happening for years now. So like,
yeah, the best answers for Grief, by the way, what they're hoping for is people to just stop playing Grief because another deck is so fucking busted. That's it. Like, that's what they're really hoping for, because any answer to Grief was already printed. Stifle, Veil of Summer, Force of Will. These are the only ones, okay? One of them 2-for-1s you. The other one you have to have gone first. The other one you have to have gone first. So you literally, like, the fucking answers exist. Unless you want to create a free mana, another free mana thing that says nope to Grief, then you're creating another free card. Like,
I was going to say, the answers exist and they don't work. Plain and simple.
They work if you go first.
They only work 50% of the time statistically, and most of the time you can coin flip into not going first. So many y'all. Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's frustrating. Like,
I definitely see why it's a frustrating thing, especially when you're with a game that's so meticulous like Magic, and then it's hurting. Especially when they get the information that it's hurting local gaming stores, local communities. I wonder how serious they're going to take that competition. But those local gaming stores are literally the lifeblood that's kept Magic a popular thing, made it a cult classic into a mainstay classic. It's I don't. You can earn.
They don't care though. They really don't care. And I'll tell you right now the reason why they don't care.
I know. I hear you're saying you're not, but like the one last point I want to make on this, it's like you can literally earn points to go to the biggest tournament held by Wizards of the Coast and whatnot from a local gaming store, right?
Yeah, that's where the RCQ was.
If the ecosystem involves them there, where you can literally path to pro it from the bottom scale, bottom tier, all the way into the biggest tournament in the world, why are they not then including them and considering them for this stuff too? Like, that seems such a spit in the face, and like maybe they are talking about in the back rooms and stuff, but they're not talking it out in public. And if those stats are real, if those stats are out there, like you're saying, where these local gaming stores are losing players, losing competitions, and have to create house rules to just make it happen, Yeah. So what? Sorry, you were gonna say. I needed to finish that
it's like,
point.
So like LGSs, right? It's the lifeblood of TCGs just in general, board games for the most part, right?
Yes.
But like, here's the thing:
Yes.
at a certain point, right? Like, here's like, let's date ourselves, right? They used to have like Toys R Us, right? And then Toys R Us didn't exist, right? And so like LGSs and little like video game stores were the only places you could get like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, right? Stuff like that. Warlords, Blood for Blood, whatever you want to do. Shout out to people who know Warlords, but like for real, that game sucked. That game was so crappy, but I played it. But here's what they did: they started to try to. I say it's like a GameStop approach, right? They went after moms, and like it sounds weird to say it like that, but they went after moms, and the companies that go after moms, while you're going to do your after work errands or something like that, right? So it's areas that have like Targets and stuff and like little.
But
things
that's
like
what
that
I
that you
was.
have to do.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna say. That's where you see more of these cards, Pokemon cards, all Magic cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're all in WalMarts and Targets now.
Yep. And so like also the secondary market also controls the main market, right? Pretty heavily for no reason. Like give you an example, Modern Horizons 3 just came out. They have an MSRP product of a commander deck of $60. It's not $60. It is $140 for something that's normally $60 to $70. Okay.
So hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? So basically, if I were to resell it to you, let's say it's valued at $120 or $160, but the store would be advised to sell it at 60, but they would be selling it at 100.
The stores no longer want to compete with the secondary market and will take your money as if they were selling stuff on the secondary market. They don't care about MSRP. So like they'll sell you a pack that they broke out of a box.
I mean, MSRP kind of doesn't matter because it's like imaginary. It's like a suggested retail price. That's literally what the value is. So like it's interesting that they're focusing on Magic and like other card games that have inflated values since quarantine, since COVID.
Yeah, I mean, like there's some things that people who are like, I'll call them like boomers. Like I got a couple buddies who are like $5 or $6 for a Magic the Gathering pack. That's crazy. If you look at inflation, like when we were paying $3 a pack, right? We were paying $3 or $4 a pack for the thing. By inflation now, it's $5 or $6. Like literally from 2004,
that becomes a whole.
When they were $4, like you still get value on it, right? But when you talk about like the value of a box being $150 now instead of $100, but it also has less packs in it, and each pack has less cards in it, that's where you can complain. But like you can't like.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you on that.
The old man in me is coming out.
I was about to say we're starting to yell at clouds here, dude. We're starting to yell at clouds.
That whole grief thing gets me so fucking heated.
All right. So yeah. But we've been. I know you've been screaming this on the top of your lungs since at least January. To me, we've been saying it on the podcast since February. But yeah, speaking of grief, back into like vintage here. Any other final notes between Legacy, Vintage, and then Alchemy?
Those made up ones. Everything after that is all made up stuff. Alchemy's nonsense. People play Alchemy. I don't know how many people play Alchemy, but Alchemy has made up cards.
Okay.
These are digital cards that do not exist in the real world. They are not cards that you should actually try to soak up into your brain and learn because they're fucking fake. And if you actually play Magic, you're gonna be like that card. I should get this. Oh, that card doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not a real card. Now
you're harping a lot on Alchemy, man. What else have we got?
So the other thing, like Historic is these are specifically only on Arena.
Okay, so all digital.
They're not. These ones have real cards, but they're not proper formats. So like Historic, I think is supposed to be Modern, but it doesn't have all the cards from Modern or something like that. I'm not sure about Historic, but Explorer, for instance, is supposed to be Pioneer. That's the way that it was supposed to be in the beginning. Explorer format was going to be Pioneer, but on Magic the Gathering Arena. They decided to go against that. Everybody complained. And basically now, by the end of summer,
Yeah, sorry.
now by the end of
Had a little
summer,
bit of weird click.
we're going to get packs on Arena that are specifically Pioneer packs that will not give out, but like you'll be able to get the cards
Pokemon
that are
style?
necessary and yeah, like pretty
Physical
much
comes with a digital version. Cool.
No. This is going to be all
Okay.
digital. Of course, they're stealing your money. They're not giving you anything like that. This is WotC, bro. This is WotC. They take that money, bro. Daddy Hasbro needs that. Daddy Hazzy, bro. Daddy Hazzy.
All right, man.
All my money.
I think at that point we're kind of hitting a cap, a limit on before we're just going to start screaming profanities about this at this. So I want to wrap us up. Any final thoughts on the topics? We were talking about Overwatch with the Face It League World Cup qualifiers, Esports World Cup coming up. We were talking about Frag Punk and Arena Shooter Watch updates. Maybe we should start a bingo. I think that might be a good thing to design. Let's do Arena Shooter bingo. We were talking about the ban list here. So, like, what are your final thoughts? Anything that you want to walk away with?
The World Cup's gonna be good, right? Let's end it on a happy note. The World Cup is great, as a great move for esports. I hope that it's a good watch overall as an event. I don't have high hopes, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to get a next one, and the next one not being like, I think number 2 is going to be great. That's why I'm excited about it. Because like it happened for like skateboarding in the Olympics. Like the first time was like, meh, right? And then like number 2 is going to be crazy. It's going to be real crazy this year.
Sure, this is
Like,
gonna-
I'm not even joking.
This is going to break the ice, and then it's going to ask a lot more questions than answering them, and then the next 2 are really going to solve those. I hope it gets that far, because this kind of feels like a big gimmick, but of course we want to see that sustainability, that continuation of these things. So I agree with you. I think Esports World Cups could be a lot of fun to watch. Make sure you're watching it. We'll have a big breakdown with us next week, so watch us as well. You stick around because we've got more information for you. I don't have anything else there, Nan. What do you think? That's
I
good.
think my kid upstairs broke his leg. Like,
Well, it looks like Daddy Nick is going to have to go lay the band hammer, but that might also be speaking about Magic the Gathering. Anyway, I think it's a great way to wrap this up. Thanks for joining us on the Esports Meta podcast. Where we are the podcast about North American esports and competitive video games. We're also bringing you video game news. If you didn't know that, now you do. You can follow us here on YouTube or Twitch, or, this is where we live stream every Tuesday, the podcast right here at 7 p.m. Eastern. Or if that's not your thing, you're more of a social media or clips kind of guy, check out our YouTube channel or any of our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. We're out there on the internet, and we'd like to interact with you guys. Nick, thanks for joining me. It was a pleasure talking about this stuff. It went a lot better, and hopefully you're not as mad as you said you were going to be at the beginning.
No, I'm not. I was joking. I'm gonna be done with this. I will not be mad for the rest of the night.
Yeah, we had a good
yeah.
time today, man. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to talking about this stuff again next week. Big one next week, Esports World Cup, big breakdowns here.
Yeah.
All right. All right, thanks for joining us on the Esports Meta podcast. I'm Billy Sims. This is Nick Layton, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
I think I got to do it manually again.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, here we go. I'll fix it in post. My buttons aren't working for that. So we're clear. I gotta end streams and stuff, but we're muted.